Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So Democrats have finally drafted who they believe to be their star candidate to face Ted Cruz in the 2024 election. This is a Senate seat that is up for grabs. Ted Cruz won it in 2018 by a very narrow margin compared to what a lot of people initially anticipated, and he is up for re-election yet again. He has said that he would run, and Democrats have picked who they believe to be the best bet that they have at defeating him in the 2024 Senate election. Now, mind you, they have a really bad map. It is very unlikely that Democrats end up holding the Senate after 2024 because they have seats up in West Virginia, Ohio, and Montana, and the people that are in them currently representing in the United States Senate that are up for re-election in 2024 vote with Biden over 90% of the time, and Republicans are actually finding candidates that potentially could take them down. And Democrats have a bad map because they're not going to flip any of these like Great Plains states that are going to be voting for Donald Trump or whoever the Republican nominee is by 20 plus points. They're probably not going to take Florida. Now, technically, you could say they'd pick up Arizona potentially, but Kyrsten Sinema already caucuses with the Democrats already, so it wouldn't even be a pickup. So Texas is probably their best shot for a pickup in 2024. And even then, it's very unlikely. And we're going to talk about why Colin Allred is overrated. A lot of people are saying he could be formidable. I'll explain why Ted Cruz, even though he's not really that likable, I'm aware, I'm not even the biggest Ted Cruz fan, as most people know, but he's probably going to hold on regardless. And I'll talk about why in this video. But first, I have to tell you guys about our very good friends over at Noble Gold. Did you know Bank of America is saying gold will go to $2,200 this year? That's an all-time high. Invest in a gold IRA with Noble Gold today and take advantage of this rare opportunity to secure your retirement savings. With the experts at Noble Gold Investments, you can ride the wave of gold's historic rise to financial security. This month, they're offering a solid silver 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin with every qualifying precious metals IRA or 401k rollover. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold Investments. So hurry and go to noblegoldinvestments.com to secure your wealth. That is noblegoldinvestments.com. So we know that Democrats have landed who they believe to be their recruit. Is he that strong? We're going to talk about why he's really not. And I'm not saying that this is not going to be a remotely competitive race. The state of Texas has changed. The electorate has changed. And it is possible that Ted Cruz could get by a few points, but he likely is going to be getting by regardless, and Democrats likely are not going to be taking this Senate seat away. And this is true. We could look into it. Republicans, they're probably not going to have a serious challenger to Ted Cruz. We've floated that idea before, but still, he is senator. He does have a lot of resources lined up for his re-election bid, which probably arguably more so than he had in 2018 because he didn't try in 2018. Now, Democrats are going to have their primary, and it's probably going to be Allred's race to lose at this point. And he's getting some endorsements. A lot of Democrats are throwing their support behind him. But even the predictions of the election mafia have this race as likely R or solid R, even so. And as bad as Beto O'Rourke was, especially after his 2018 bid, he did drum up a lot of enthusiasm that was unique to him in the state, and that is why he got a lot of funding. He performed very, very well, and it doesn't seem like in a presidential year the spotlight is going to be on somebody like Allred. In fact, he's going to be attacked a lot, and it's possible that because this is a down-ballot race in the state of Texas, that Republicans could easily do better in it than they would in the presidential race if Trump is the nominee, even though I think that they probably will perform about the same. I don't think there's going to be a big drag on the ticket regardless of whoever is picked as the Republican nominee. But you look at this back in 2018, Ted Cruz won, and he had a lot going against him because Beto ran a campaign that at the time was like a fake moderate campaign. He had his SJW tendencies, yes he did, but it was mainly to a point where he could energize his own base, but still not energize the other side a ridiculous amount against him, like what we saw in 2022 after he went full anti-2A in the 2020 presidential primaries and dropped out months before the first primary actually took place. And this is true. And we know that because Texas is a very pro-gun state. It's a pro-oil state. He didn't exactly counter-signal either of those on his 2018 Senate campaign, and he actually got his act together, and he performed relatively well for a Democrat in the state of Texas. He went to every county. It was like grassroots, but he also outraised and outspent Ted Cruz by more than a 2-to-1 margin, and that definitely helped him. And also, Ted Cruz was nowhere to be found. I think he did one rally with Donald Trump in Houston, and that was pretty much it. But even then, he ended up winning by more than 2.5 points at the end of the day. So 2020 rolls around. A lot of people in the election mafia, the pundits, said that Trump could lose Texas. He ended up winning it by 5.6%. And he ended up doing very well downstate. He did lose some ground in the suburbs. That was bound to happen. However, he still won the state by a likely margin, more than 5 percentage points. And Biden's popularity in the state has dipped significantly since then. Donald Trump likely would defeat him again by a similar margin, even if the map would look slightly differently. And it's to a point where I don't think that Ted Cruz is going to underperform Donald Trump by that margin, 5.6%, to the point where he would actually risk losing. And that we know. And then 2022 rolls around. The state party, by the way, is getting more competent, and they are team players, at least in terms of the apparatus, the mechanics of it. They get their turnout at a decent amount, and you saw Greg Abbott go out there, and he went up against Beto in a year that was not exactly that great for Republicans at the gubernatorial level, but he still went out there despite facing an upheaval of ads against him because Beto did raise a decent amount. He still ended up winning this race by 11 percentage points. And you look at what happened down ballot, and obviously you can see the shift map here where he did even better in a lot of these rural counties that a lot of people consider to be close to maxed out. And Republicans somehow keep doing better in these counties, and they definitely are adding a cushion, even though in some of these counties downstate in the Rio Grande Valley, he didn't do as well as Trump, and maybe you would see that revert back a little bit Republican in a presidential year with higher turnout. But either way, you look at other races that took place in the state of Texas, and you could see this here. All these other statewide races where you saw Dan Patrick, who won by a margin similar to Cruz in 2018. He got by 11. Ken Paxton, who had scandals and barely got by in 2018, he got by close to 10. Sid Miller, who is very much so a hardliner for the agricultural commissioner slot, he won by 12. So you look at this and it's like, okay, yeah, regardless of however you want to chalk it up, Texas is not quite ready to flip yet. I'm not saying that Republicans aren't going to have to work for it. I'm not saying that it's trending in their favor, but still, it's not to a point where Ted Cruz is going to lose in 2024. And also, looking at the House shift in 2022 compared to 2020, you look at certain Republican overperformances. This included Allred's district, where he underperformed Biden by 2% in what was a much bluer district than he ran in 2020. And also on top of that, in 2020, he underperformed Biden on the same ticket by 5 points. He's not that much of an electoral juggernaut. And you could look at his record in Congress. It is not something that you would expect to make somebody viable in a state like Texas, and there is a lot to attack him on. You talk about guns and oil. He's not really good on that. You talk about the fact that Texas has a border crisis at the southern border, and people are not fond of how Biden has handled that. And Allred co-sponsored multiple gun bans when he was in the House, which he currently is still in the House. He also voted for AOC's bill to prohibit the president's ability to send troops down to the southern border to assist in the border crisis. So he's aligning himself with AOC when it comes down to the immigration legislation and these open border policies that are not popular in Texas by any means. Also, he's voted against a lot of pro-oil legislation that has been put up by Republicans even recently while he's planning his run for Senate. That's just not a good fit. And that doesn't even mention the fact that his original credentials were the fact that he was a linebacker for the Tennessee Titans, which, by the way, were relocated from Houston. They used to be the Oilers, and a lot of people resented the Tennessee Oilers turned Titans when they moved from Houston to Tennessee in the Houston area, which is nearly as big as Dallas in population. And you're running somebody who has ties to that move, which was not very popular. And still to this day, the Texans' biggest rivals include the Tennessee Titans. Overall, this guy's not a very good fit for Texas, I will say. And he's not even that good of a fit for his own district. So if he's the star candidate that the Democrats are running, somebody who underperforms Biden consistently and is a hardline left-winger when it comes to policy, and he's somebody going up against a Ted Cruz who will likely end up being a stronger candidate than he was in 2018, based off of the fact that he will actually be taking this election more seriously, this is not a good fit. Even so, I will say it is the best bet for Democrats to pick up a Senate seat, but it's probably going to be lean R at a minimum, especially because of the fact that they're going to have to go on defense in West Virginia, on defense in Ohio, Montana, Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin. They probably do win Pennsylvania and Michigan, but even then, they still will likely have to spend a decent amount of resources in those states, whereas Republicans have nowhere to defend. They can only go up from here. And the fact that it's a presidential year might as well just give them 3 Senate seats in deep red states on top of whatever their total is now, which brings it to 52. And they likely hold Texas and Florida. Arizona, there's question marks there. We'll talk about that one pretty soon. Definitely Wisconsin. If Trump is on the ticket and they put forth a good recruit, it's possible. So we'll see what happens in the meantime. But I will say that Republicans are in a decent shape to retake the Senate, and they're probably going to hold Ted Cruz's seat. And it'll be funny watching Democrats pour a ridiculous amount of money into this race regardless, just so they might lose it by 4 instead of 7. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.